I do trust you are safe. In the last unit, we went through many mathematical operation on signals like addition, subtraction, multiplication, scaling, time reversal and time shifting. Now here we have another operation that is of significance. Now this operation is called convolution. Why is it of significance? Because convolution, when it is done in time domain, like how I have shown you here, it doesn't have much significance. But convolution, when transferred to frequency domain, becomes a filtering operation. How? I'll explain to you a little later in this unit. That is that this forms the basis of all our digital filters. So this operation gains importance as we in the latter units will be designing digital filters. Now how do we do convolution? Now there are so many methods to do convolution: graphical method, matrix method, Z transform, concentric circle method. So right now we are going to learn the first two methods. After we complete Z transform, I'll show you how convolution can be done using Z transform. And after we complete concentric circular convolution, I'll teach you how to do convolution using concentric circle method. That is when we come to the third unit. So here I have taken two examples. X of x equals 1, 1, 1. There is no arrow below any of the samples, which means the sequence starts at origin, and h equals 0.5 to 2.5 and 1. And convolution of x and n is given by the formula summation k from minus infinity to plus infinity x of k h of n minus k. So that is equal to convolution of x and h becomes equal to y. So we'll try solving it using the first method, that is graphical method. In order to do that, the formula says it is x of k into h of n minus k. So first we'll plot x of k, h of k, and in the formula you have h of n minus k. So after you plot h of k, time reverse h of k to get h of n minus k. So that is what I have done here. So I have plotted x of k, I have plotted h of k, and I have time reversed h of k to get h of minus k. So x of k is 1, 1, 1. H of minus k is h of minus k. Of course, it starts at origin, so that is 0.5. At minus 1 it is 2, at minus 2 it is 2.5, and at minus 3 it is 1. So I have plotted h of k and just folded it. What I get as the mirror image is h of minus k. Now how do I find out y of n? Now I have to substitute different values for n and calculate the individual samples of y of n. So initially if I substitute 0 for n, the formula becomes summation k from minus infinity to plus infinity x of k into h of minus k, because n becomes equal to 0. So what you have to do is multiply x of k with h of minus k. That means the individual samples at every value of n is multiplied. So if you see, the overlapping value is only at 0, all other samples do not overlap. That means if you multiply, you will get 0 for all other values of n. So y of 0 is equal to 0.5, that is h of k, h of minus k is 0.5 at 0, and x of k is 1 at 0. So 0.5 into 1, and every other value if you multiply, it is either 0 here or 0 at x of k, that is h of k is 0 or x of k is 0. So the product becomes equal to 0.5. This is when n is equal to n is equal to 0. So you get the first sample of y of n. So y of 0 is 0.5. Now to get y of minus 1. So what do? Substitute n equal to minus 1. So if I substitute n equal to minus 1, the formula becomes x of k. So you have the same graph, same plot of x of k, and that is multiplied by h of minus 1 minus k. So what happens here is, you have to time shift by minus 1. So after time reversal, a negative shift will mean that plot shift towards the left. So there you have shifted the plot towards the left. Now you don't have any overlapping values, so if you multiply, you will end up getting 0. So that's what I have got here. And if I substitute n equal to minus 2, the plot will shift further towards the left. So anyway, any value beyond minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, everything else will be 0. So you don't have to substitute any more values. So now you can substitute positive values for n. So if I substitute positive values, let's see what happens. So at y of 0 it is 0.5, y of minus 1 we know is 0, and y of 1 becomes x of k into h of 1 minus k. Instead of n, I have substituted 1. I get now y of 1. So now I already have x of k. I have to plot h of 1 minus k. So this is a positive shift. So the entire plot shifts towards the right by one place. So now if you multiply, you get 2 into 1 plus 0.5 into 1. So what I get is 2.5. So similarly, you can get for y of 2, that is substituting for n equal to 2, you get the third value of y of n. So plot h of 2 minus k and you multiply it with x of k, you get y of 2. Similarly, y of 3 you get as 5.5 and y of 4 you get as 3.5. What I am doing is the same thing. For 3 plus 3 minus k, I have to shift h of minus k by 3 places, and to get h of 4 minus k, I have to shift h of minus k towards the right by 4 places. So after I get h of 4 minus k, I multiply h of 4 minus k with x of k, I get y of 4. So that is 3.5. So now to get y of 5, I substitute, instead of n, I substitute 5, and the same thing I do. H of minus k is shifted towards the right by 5 places, and then I multiply x of k with h of 5 minus k. So what I get is 1. And then if you find y of 6, you shift h of minus k by 6 places. Now there are no overlapping samples, and therefore when you multiply, you end up getting 0. So y of 7 also will be 0, y of 8 also will be 0, because every shift means this sequence shifts towards the right, and there will be no overlapping samples between x of k and h of n minus k. So now we have y of 0 is 0.5, y of minus 1 we know is 0, y of 1 is 2.5, y of 2 is 5, y of 3 is 5.5, y of 4 is 3.5, y of 5 is 1, y of 6 is equal to 0. So how many samples have we got? So starting from 0, at 0 we have a sample, at 1 we have a sample, 2 we have a sample, at 3 we have a sample, and 4 we have a sample, and at 5 we have a sample. And before y of 0 it's all zeros, and after y of 5 it's all zeros. So you totally only have 6 samples. So y of n is equal to, there you have, starting from 0, 0.5, 2.5, 5, 5.5, 3.5 and 1. So this is one quick way of checking if you have got all the samples in. If you have m number of samples in x and n number of samples in h, then the number of samples in y should be equal to m plus n minus 1. So now in this case, x has 3 samples, h has 4 samples. So y should have 3 plus 4 minus 1, that is equal to 6. So you know your answer is right. You have 6 samples. Now this is using graphical method. Now graphical method you can use when you have less number of samples. When you have more number of samples, it becomes tedious, it becomes laborious, very difficult. So we go for the next method, which is matrix method. See, in the exam they normally won't specify the method, so the easiest way would be to go with matrix method. So here what I have done is, I have listed out x of n vertically and h of n horizontally. So there I have h on top, it is 0.5, 2, 2.5 and 1, and x listed vertically from up to down, so it is 1, 1, 1. So now what do? Multiply the first sample of x with the first sample of h, and I put the product here. And similarly, the first sample of x multiplied with the second sample of h, I get 2. So the same thing is done for the third sample of h. Third sample of h multiplied with the first sample of x, I get 2.5, and then I get 1. So the same thing is repeated for the second row and for the third row. And then what do? I draw diagonal lines, and then within a pair of diagonal lines you have some samples enclosed. So first one is, there's only one sample, so your first sample is 0.5. Between the second pair of diagonal lines you have 2 and 2.5, add them, you get 2.5. Between the third diagonal lines you have 0.5, 2 and 2.5. So if you add them all, you get 5. And then third pair of diagonal lines you have 2, 2.5 and 1, so you add them all, you get 5.5. And then you have 2.5 and 1, so there you get the fifth sample, that is 3.5. And then the last, there's only one sample, so that is your last sample. So this is a much easier way to find out convolution. But again, this method also has a limitation. If your sequence length is infinite, then you can't use matrix method or graphical method. So when you have infinite length sequences, that's when you go for Z transform. So we'll do that a little later, but for now I guess you know how to find out convolution using graphical method and matrix method. So I hope you are all safe. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.